Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to build a giant birthday cake. Because, if it's somebody's birthday, you might want to celebrate. Mine was recently. When? I don't know. But either way, I have a new microphone set up, which is probably only going to stay here for one video because it lacks a mute function. But either way, please like and subscribe, and onto the tutorial. So, we're going to be using a wide variety of blocks for the various parts. We're going to be reusing a couple though. For the actual cake part of the cake, we're going to be using terracotta, light gray terracotta, and white terracotta. All very neutral blocks. And the white terracotta acts as a connector into the frosting palette we have over here, which is white concrete and white wool, because both are very bright blocks. You might want to use light gray concrete as a little bit of like a mixture part, but that's up to you. Then, for the red strawberry accents, we're going to be using red concrete and red wool. The wool might not be used, but I'd still recommend getting a little depending on how you like it in your build. Then, you can start by placing down a 15 by 15 circle in the ground, and I have a circle generator in the description for that. You should use this for any part of the build that requires a circle. Once you have your cyan terracotta circle, then you want to fill it all in with light gray concrete. From there, you make a smaller circle on the inside, much easier to calculate. You don't even need the generator for this part. Then, you start just going up a little, not too much. You might even want to widen the circle, make it 13 by 13 using the generator, and then go to this circle right here, so that way you have a smooth transition. So you should kind of pyramid your way up with the circles until you reach about 3 or 4 blocks. We've now stacked up 3 blocks. I made a modified 11 by 11 circle on the inside. You can add corners. That part's just purely subjective. I'm going to leave them on. But the next step is to invert what you have here and start building the same circles but going upwards this time. Then don't do the cyan terracotta outline, just have light gray concrete because we need it to go an extra circle or two before we make the flat base plate that the cake is going to reside on. Once you've inverted your section, place down a 19 by 19 circle on top of all that. Then, for your final layer, before we put in some cyan terracotta rim, then we want to make it 23 by 23. Of course, all these numbers can be changed depending on how big you want your cake, but these are the numbers I recommend. Along with one final thing, replace the ground near this thing or elevate it by 1 by replacing the ground with cyan terracotta to make it look a little more base-like. Because, it looks like it's just kind of stacked on top of this and it's going to fall down, but this looks a lot more stable right here. Now we got the 23 by 23 circle on top, and you want to completely outline it in cyan terracotta, and then outline the tops and bottoms with it. Pretty easy thing. And also, if you notice slightly worse audio quality on this video, although new microphone, please excuse that. The reason why I'm having technical difficulties if you read my community post is because, well, whenever I open the voice mixer, it disables my video recording software, which is, kind of important, so please expect, some different microphone stuff, and if there's a snapshot tomorrow if you're watching this the day it's uploaded, I'm going to be returning to old microphone. Once you have this circle in place, then you want to add another circle inside of this. You may notice a recurring theme here. And this circle should be 17 by 17. Once you have that part done, then you should make it about 3, 4, even 5 blocks tall, which means you're going to run out of terracotta, because that's going to be the majority block, although you can make it hollow to save on the cost, because after the second layer, it gets exponentially cheaper. With a very appetizing terracotta cylinder, you want to top it with white concrete, because the frosting is going to be mostly that block anyways, and, various design changes might change that to white wool, but either way, both are going to be quite prevalent blocks, so no harm in doing that. And then, in the very middle of the build, you want to make a small circle, like really small, like this, and repeat the same process you had. Although it looks pretty small now, you might actually want to increase the size. Still, it's going to extend up, and it's going to have one singular candle on it. If you make your cake larger, you can definitely make it a bit more grand, but this makes a pretty simple design. With our two simple cake layers, we now want to add our little strawberry accents. This is a very easy part. You just add yourself some blobs like this. Not very large. If you want, you can replace parts of them with red wool. And that still looks decent. Although it looks like it's hanging off the edge, in reality, we're going to change the edge to add more little blobs like this hanging off in order to give the cake a little depth. Add about 8 of these, and then in the middle, start making a small tower completely out of red. We'll gradient it later, but this is what we want to do for now. Once we have the little accents strawberries in, we now want to add some white concrete hanging off the sides, kind of like this, a little bit scattered, and under it, we replace pieces of the cake with white terracotta in order to add to the effect. Although, white gray might be better. This part is of course subjective. I think white gray does look better on this, but the main idea is that you hang down some white concrete and you speckle in some of that light gray terracotta. Add this onto both layers and you'll see the cake looks so much better when you do this, because of course it breaks up the monotony and very sterile blank design of the cake. I have a gradiented candle here now, and well, nothing else to say about it. It's a gradiented candle. And we have the tiny flame on top, but let's be honest, it's just a tiny fire. This candle's a little bit bigger, we can do better. So, what you do is surround it in white glass, and then off to one side you want it to be flowing in, you just place down some yellow stained glass. And you break a couple, stagger it a little, and then encompass a little bit more in it, and do the same thing with orange stained. Do this all the way up until red stained, and then you will have yourself a completed flame that looks much better than just an ordinary one block of fire. Now we got a flame. You might want to make a couple of adjustments to it over time, but we can see we have a nice giant fire here. We still have the authentic fire inside just to add to the light, in case it turns night, just for reference. You can see that this thing is still lit up, and it also stands out a lot. Either way, it's a very good build, but there's one thing you might want to do. This part's optional. Accent the little plate a little. Just some red concrete surrounded in cyan terracotta will do wonders for it. Now, our cake is done with the little accents on the dish itself. You can see strawberries, a giant to probably kerosene infused candle. Yeah, that flame's a little large, but looks better, even if it's unrealistic. We got some good frosting, a simple plate. It's nothing too awesome, but at the same time, it's not the focal point of the build. And, it's just a token of gratitude. If it's anyone's birthday, might as well build this for them, because, of course, it's pretty small, so if you ever need to destroy it for any reason, you can. And the best part is, you can just destroy a little piece of this, and now, suddenly, it's the entrance to a house. You can turn this into a house. I know I haven't been doing that anymore where I turn everything into a house, but still, you can definitely turn this into a house. So, this is just a good build all around. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.